It was the year 1974 in the city of Nice. At an interzonal tournament, the legendary Bobby Fischer takes his seat before the chessboard, fully aware that the outcome of this particular game has the power to alter his entire career path permanently. On the other side, we have Bent Larsen, one of the most dangerous and truly creative players in the entire world. With absolutely everything at stake, Fischer makes the decision not to force the center. He decides not to reveal his hand too early. He decides not to take any risks. He decides to be intelligent. And the strategic tool he ultimately chooses is the Pirc Defense. The Pirc Defense aims to concede the center to white at the outset, rapidly developing its pieces and then attacking that center later, thereby achieving dynamic and flexible counterplay without making premature commitments. The Pirc Defense has two main variations, the classical, which is more solid and flexible, and the Austrian, which is more aggressive and tactical. In both, black allows the center to be attacked later on. In the classical variation, white begins the game by moving the king's pawn forward, aiming to control the center of the board and develop their pieces. Black responds by moving a pawn to support the center and maintain a secure position. Next, white moves forward with the queen's pawn, aiming to gain more space on the board. Black then develops their king's knight, preparing to attack the center. White continues to develop their pieces by bringing out the queen's knight, which also helps to defend the central squares. Black advances the kingside pawn with the clear intention of placing their bishop on a strong, active diagonal. Then, white develops the king's knight, preparing to castle, and black brings out the king's bishop. White develops the king's bishop to castle safely. Black performs short castling, protecting their king. If you don't know what castling is, you can click the link in the top right corner, where we'll explain it in more detail. Finally, white also castles, ensuring both kings are safe and the pieces are ready to continue the game. Experienced players employ the classic Pirc Defense to establish a solid and flexible game, carefully avoiding premature risks and committing to a long-term strategic plan. In the Austrian variation, the white pieces begin the game by advancing their king's pawn to take control of the center and open up the play. Black responds with a calm move, pushing a pawn to strengthen their central position. Next, the opponent pushes the queen's pawn to gain more space, and black develops their king's knight to pressure the center. White continues developing the queen's knight, supporting the central pawns. Black advances their king's pawn with the intention of developing their bishop along a long diagonal. Following this, white pushes their king's pawn forward, an aggressive maneuver that defines the Austrian variation, aiming to attack the center and seize the initiative. Black responds by developing their king's bishop, thereby strengthening their overall defense. Following this, white develops their king's knight, preparing for castling and supporting the central attack. Black castles kingside to protect their king. Finally, white develops their bishop, positioning it actively where it aims at the opponent's castle position and aids in the attack. The Austrian variation is chosen by strong players in games where initiative and aggressive play are sought, especially to create imbalances and apply pressure from the very first move. Now that you've learned how to effectively use the Pirc Defense, it's the perfect time for you to practice it. And the absolute best way you can do that is by enrolling in BlackChess Academy. You'll find the link in the description below.